Hello, everybody. This is Rob Warren, the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church in Marion, North Carolina. What you're about to hear is an excerpt from a night of stand-up comedy that we did at the church as a part of a fundraiser, and I invite you to listen. There are many changes that have happened in life since then, many more stories, and I'll probably upload those soon. But until then, please just sit back, listen, and enjoy.
Somebody asked me what the difference between stories that I can't tell in sermons and stories that I can tell in sermons is. And basically the stories that I'm going to share with you tonight are different because the stories that I share in sermons tend to have a redemptive quality. Someone in them is behaving in a way that's consistent with the Scripture. The stories you're going to hear tonight also have examples of people behaving in accordance with the Scripture, but it falls more on the thou shalt not side. Most of you in this room remember when gas was north of $4 a gallon. And the conversations that happened in McDonald's and churches and a lot of places were, what's going to be next? There's a storm that comes through the Gulf, gas prices go up. OPEC changes the price of gas, gas prices go up. There was a lot of stories on the news about what affects gas prices and all of those types of things. And it just kept getting more and more expensive. Well, I had paid for my gas, and there was no receipt paper on my pump, and so I was forced to go into the store. And I walked into the store, and I walked into the middle of a situation that if I had been smart, I would not have gotten involved in. Because there were two people that were having a domestic dispute in the gas station. And by walking up and getting in line, I become the one that would make the paper. Because if the Courier-Journal has a choice, they're going to print Presbyterian minister involved in domestic dispute as opposed to man and woman fight in gas station. But as I said, I like lines. And she was in line, she was in front of the counter, so I went and got right behind her. Now, apparently, their dispute was about their relationship. They had had a relationship, and he had chosen to start seeing someone else without letting her know in advance. Given her level of anger, I can understand why he made this choice, but I don't necessarily sympathize with it. He's getting what he earned at this point. So I just get behind her and stand in line. It's at that point that the conversation becomes more uncomfortable for me because she begins to describe those moments that they have shared together. And apparently, she was very proud of herself in these moments, although she was somewhat derogatory towards herself because I don't necessarily think nasty is a word that I would use. But it was a word that she used, and she used quite often. And apparently the point of her argument was to explain to him that the person that he was seeing now, although she was apparently of a questionable moral character to get involved with someone who's already dating someone, would not be willing to do these nasty things with him. Now, at that point, I'm still just standing in line. And I would have gotten out of line, except someone that's been in the dairy section avoiding this has seen the line form and has come and stood behind me. So now we are in a proper line while this discussion is going on. For the first time, and I don't know how long, you all have known me, most of you in this room have known me for at least 5.5 years. This woman managed to do something that is not at all a common occurrence. This woman embarrassed me by the way she was describing her own actions. Flush with excitement does not begin to describe how I felt. It doesn't come close because it's not even in the same realm. I was blushing from just the sheer embarrassment of it. But I'm in line, and I'm not going anywhere else. There are those moments in life where you see crazy on the horizon, and you see it coming, and you just feel it. You know it's coming. And I saw the wave rise up, and I saw it get closer and larger, And then it kept coming and getting larger. And I should have stepped out of the line, but I didn't. She decided to involve me in their discussion. She turns around after describing her abilities and says a word that I cannot use in the fellowship hall. A word that my mother would still wash my mouth out with soap for. And a word that I hope Donovan learns at daycare and not from anywhere else that I can possibly be. It's the mother of all curse words. It's the F-bomb. And she turns around and looks at me very heartfelt at the peak of her argument and says, "You would blank me, wouldn't you?" And I just looked at her and said, "Is that what I have to do to pay for my gas?" The gentleman behind me drops his milk. It hits the floor and starts spreading around behind me. He's laughing. The clerk is looking as embarrassed as he should. And the woman is glaring at me, and I thought, how do I get involved in these situations? I've been quiet this whole time. I haven't volunteered anything. I haven't raised my hand to speak. And she's just glaring at me because I've stepped on her moment. I've stepped on this argument that she was building up to, and she just storms out of the restaurant or out of the gas station. And I just, look at the guy and go, "I'd like a receipt for number 9." And then I take my receipt and I leave because this kind of thing happens to me on a regular basis, and you just get used to it after a while. And it dawned on me as I got in the car that I had missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime. I had missed out on something that could have been glorious and legendary, and definitely something that I might have even shared in a sermon, depending on what the topic was that week. I had missed out on this opportunity that had been just given to me, that was just right there in front of me. And if you think I'm talking about the woman, you are absolutely wrong. I had a man standing, laughing so hard he was crying over spilt milk. Sometimes in our life we miss out on these opportunities. Sometimes we have a chance to celebrate them and enjoy them. Tonight I have had a wonderful opportunity to try something that I've never tried before. I thank you for being a part of it. And good night and God bless.